Hi, and welcome back to the channel on the college process. Once again, my name is Ed from Principia Prep, and today we're going to be going over college retention, what it means and its importance to you. But before we begin, if you are new to the channel and you're looking for additional college content, please hit the subscription button down below. It will notify you of new videos when they do come out, as well as leave a comment and a like. It does help the channel. Now let's first talk about what retention actually means. The term actually means how many students go to that campus for the first time. Typically a freshman goes to that campus or a transfer student goes to that campus and goes for one academic year and then comes back. The percentage of students that come back, that's technically the school's retention rate. Just to give you an example, let's say that you have 100 students attending a university for freshman year, and then sophomore year comes around a year later and 80 of them come back. So essentially this university has an 80% retention rate. Now, many universities like to promote the retention rate, indicating that they have a lot of students that come back to the university after the first year of attending, which in the university's eyes is essentially showing the students and the family looking at this university as an option to apply to, that if you come to our university, we're a great place to be, so you're gonna wanna come back type scenario. So obviously I have a lot of families asking me, is the retention rate important to be high or low, or does it even matter at all when you're putting together your college list? Well, let's go over a couple factors here. Now, retention rate basically means two things, at least in my eyes, essentially. Retention rate, right off the bat, number one, means if it has a high retention rate, typically means it's a generous college. Generous either on scholarship money or generous on grant money, i.e. the financial aid portion, that's the free money, not the loans and the work program stuff. I'm talking about the free money specifically here. Now, college is obviously getting more and more expensive every year, and now a lot of the private universities, unfortunately, costing over $75,000 a year just for attending 1 year at that university. Obviously, cost is now a big factor, so more and more families are looking at ways to try to reduce the cost, which typically comes from the financial aid side I just mentioned before, the grants and the scholarship, the free money. So if you see that a school has a high retention rate, something above, let's say 85 or higher, that typically means this university has a lot of money to give out and typically does give it out to a large portion, essentially, of its students. The more likely the student and the family are willing to send the student back to that university because it's something affordable. Now, for those wondering, colleges typically increase in price every year by 3 to 5%. So obviously, if you're starting with a $75,000 college, assume that sophomore year will be 5% higher, and then add another 5% for junior year and another 5% for senior year. So essentially, the starting rate that you're looking at here from a cost of attendance basis, room, board, books, etc., whatever you're starting with, it's rare it stays at that level. Now, there are some colleges out there that do not increase the price based on two different factors. Number one, the school automatically says once you start here, will not increase the price. And number two factor, the school, if your student does well academically, will not increase the prices. Typically, a student making the dean's list. 3.5 out of a 4 GPA scale. For that information, to know if the school, number one, locks it in automatically, or if the school locks it in if your student does well academically, always ask the admissions office. You should think of the admissions office as essentially the marketing arm of that college. They have every single answer available to you. And one of the first questions I would be asking if I was a parent, if I'm serious, my student's serious about this college, is, does the price increase every year? And if it does, how much does it increase by? If it doesn't, then what are the factors necessary to make sure that price is always locked in? Is it grade specific? Is it major specific? Etc., etc. I want to know all these factors directly from the admissions office, because these are the individuals that have all the answers. Now, the second reason why a school's retention rate is typically high, other than the financial aid component and generosity, obviously, is the likability of that university. Now, this is obviously based more on the preference of the student and also the family in some cases as well, where let's say the student wanted to go to a rah-rah school and ended up going to a big, let's say, rah-rah football or basketball program type of college. And let's say during that first year, some huge life-changing event happened where they could not play any sports at that university. There was no activities at the university. There was nothing the students could do on campus whatsoever. Then obviously going back to second year is less likely that students want to go back to second year, especially if that university is not going back to traditional aspects of what the student wanted to go there for, as far as the social aspects, the networking, the rah-rah, the football, the basketball, lacrosse, baseball, etc., these kind of things. And then more likely students probably not going to go back to that university. This is also the same on the academic academic front, obviously. So let's say your student wanted to go to a specific university because of their research that they do, or certain professors they have there, or certain programs they have academically that they're very interested in going in and going to study. Now, obviously that university, after the first year of them being there, the university drops that program, or all the professors they were looking forward to studying from either retired or went to go to another university. Or let's say everything as far as research was shut down once again for a world event or something that happened at the campus and everything was closed down, a building burned down, etc., and it's not going to be back for 3 or 4 years. Then it's highly likely that student, looking at it from an academic point of view, is not going to go back their second year. And of course, also with the second factor of likability, if a student just doesn't feel comfortable there, or doesn't like the work schedule, or doesn't like the students around them, or doesn't like the campus at all, or is looking for something completely different than what they thought was going to be that campus to them, or that university in their eyes when they're looking at the brochures and doing the research and the tours and everything else you guys did. Obviously, if they don't feel comfortable there, they're not going to go back. The second component, likability, is the preference of each individual family unit, student and parents, obviously. So that could change wildly as you go through the different aspects of the whole thing. From the two most important bases of affordability and likability, these are the two main focuses I look at when I look at a school's retention rate. So every family always wants to know, Ed, is the retention rate important, yes or no? And the answer, of course, is yes. Retention rate is very important. It's very important because if I see a college that has a retention rate under 80%, that's typically a red flag for me. That's typically indicating if the school has under an 80% retention rate, that right off the bat, they're not generous. And the fact that more likely they're increasing the price every year. So if you're looking at a college, it might be a little bit out of reach for you guys right from year one. Assume each year it's going to get even more and more out of reach every year going forward. And if that university doesn't provide any additional aid those second, third, and fourth years, then obviously it might be a factor where you have to take the student out of the university because it's unaffordable. Or if a university doesn't provide a lot of activities for the student, it doesn't provide a lot of networking or social events, clubs, organizations, concerts, etc. If they doesn't provide these things, then obviously after a while your student's going to get bored of being at that university. So from a likability point of view, if they don't offer a lot for the student to be doing, socially speaking, the student's not going to like it. They're going to be looking to transfer more likely after the fall semester, even before the spring semester probably even starts, to be honest with you. Now, of course, the next question is, well, Ed, how do we find out what the school's retention rate actually is? If you follow me here, I'll actually walk you through the different steps you need to do to basically get the school's retention rate. First thing we need to do is go on to collegeboard.org. Now, if this is the first time you've been on collegeboard.org, what you're going to notice is there's a lot of stuff obviously on this page. But if you're looking to go directly to find out what the school's retention rate is, it's very simple. At the top right-hand corner, you're going to see here it says in a slightly light gray, it says search. You type in the name of the school. You can type in any school you want. I'm just going to choose Rutgers University as a state school here in the state of New Jersey. Now, the first thing you're going to see is going to be a bunch of different links that pop up within College Board's own internet website here. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that it has the school's name as it does here. It indicates Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. Rutgers University actually has 3 different campuses here. So I'm going to choose the main campus here. So you want to make sure if you're looking at Wisconsin or Penn State or a university that has a lot of different campuses, that you're choosing the school's main campus. And what you notice is it's going to give you an outline, basically a portfolio here of all the different aspects as far as information on Rutgers University. Now, if this is the first time on College Board, I would definitely suggest going through this whole page here. On the left-hand side, you're going to notice it's going to say at a glance, which basically gives you a bunch of great information. On the right-hand side, it'll typically give you additional colleges students look at that have applied to Rutgers University. So you want more schools kind of in the same realm of Rutgers University academically, culture-wise, socially, and everything else. Check on the right-hand side of this page. It's going to show you a couple other colleges students have also applied to. On the left-hand side, it has a lot of information. Obviously, at a glance, it's going to give you the school, whether it's public or private, the size, and a few other aspects. Also, you can click on deadlines and figure out when these forms are due, as well as what majors are available, how to apply to the college, as well as how much the college costs. But let's go right to, we're going to obviously focus on the retention here. What you want to do is you want to click on where it says majors and learning environment. This is for any college, by the way. Click on that, and then right as you click on it, it's going to say on there on the right, 93% returning for sophomore year. So that's indicating to me it has above a 90% retention rate, which is a very good number. So obviously for me, it's an affordable college for many families, as well as it offers a lot for the students to be doing on campus. courses to keep them engaged within the community, which is something obviously in college many students want to do. So for me, retention rate, once again, is an important factor. Number one, for affordability, and number two, for likability. That being said, once again, my name is Ed from Principia Prep. If you do have any questions or any concerns, you can always put them down in the comments. I do answer all the comments you guys put down below. If you are, once again, new to the channel and you're looking for additional college content, please hit the subscription button down below. It will notify you of new videos when they come out. And on the screen now, you see your contact information. If you do have questions, if you do have concerns, if you need help with the financial aid process or the admissions process, just give us a call. On the screen is our phone number. Any questions, any concerns, just put them in the chat box. I will answer them. And once again, thank you for watching the video. I'm Ed from Principia Prep.